this look. So I got this Ferrari 430 diffuser and I gotta find something to do with it. This is a diffuser off of the back of a Ferrari F430. I have loved these things since the first time I saw one when I was a teenager. The car came out and I saw one in a parking lot, and this is what I was drawn to. I don't know why, I just think it's awesome. I know it's aerodynamics and it helps with downforce and stuff, but I honestly just like the way it looks. So I bought this with hopes of putting it on the MR2 several months ago, and it's finally time, and we're gonna do it today. But first I gotta set it down because it's actually pretty heavy. Alright, so I've talked about this before, but this MR2 is a car that I am building basically my dream out of, right? It's a car that I've decided, you know what, I'm not going to worry about what other people think, I'm not going to worry about what comments say, I'm going to build the car that I want. And so it started with the overfender kit that I built from scratch. You can check that out, I've got plenty of videos on it for you to watch and see how I did that. The next portion is this part, it's the diffuser. I've always wanted to put this diffuser on something. I've looked at pictures of it, I've photoshopped pictures of it on all kinds of different cars. I used to be really into Fieros. I wanted to do it on that, but I never did. I was into BMWs for a while and just have always thought about doing it. And not too long ago, I saw a picture just going through some random forum of one of these diffusers on a Volkswagen Corrado, and it looked incredible. Evidently, that guy had gotten it at a racetrack. A Ferrari had wrecked, and he picked it up off the Ferrari and put it on his Volkswagen, which I thought was really cool. And so I wanted to try it on my Toyota. Hey, dude. What is that? That is very fancy. Interesting. Let's see. Oh, let's see what this is. I think this is for that bachelorette party. If it is, we won't be putting it in the film. Wait, that's like some kind of clothing. Bummer. I thought it was car stuff. Okay, hang on. So the next step in building this dream car is putting this diffuser on my Toyota. I'm really stoked about it. I know it's never been done. If it has been done, it hasn't been talked about or seen or pictured. And so it's really exciting to be the first to do it. A couple of challenges that are presented are, one, the 430 is a lot bigger than the MR2. And so as a result, this diffuser is pretty big, but I don't want to cut it. I actually want to make copies of this for other cars that I'm going to do, and if I cut it, I'll lose material, and I don't want to lose material. Also, it's pretty expensive, and so I don't want to cut it. If I have to, I will, but you know, hopefully I won't have to. So one, it's big. Two, the shape is a little bit different than the MR2, but I think that I'm going to be able to fix that. I guess I'll pick it up again. Ugh. Hey, dude. Ugh. So the shape is a little bit different than the MR2, but I think I can make it fit because of this lip. So you'll see there's like a lip all the way around it. I think that's going to be good for making this thing fit like it's supposed to. And the last part of it is the MR2 wasn't designed for a diffuser, so the license plate's a little bit low. I'm going to have to find a new place to mount it. I'm going to start by pulling the bumper off because I know that this grill is going to get in the way. It's just sheet metal. I think it's a heat shield for the exhaust or for the factory exhaust, but I'm not going to have a factory exhaust, so I'm getting rid of it. That's the first thing that's going to go. Careful. You filming, Daddy? Got a good shot? We take cheese.
Dada?
Mm-hmm.
Dada?
Yeah, that's me on the camera.
Dada!
Yeah, hey.
Dada.
Now that that's gone, I can test fit this thing again and see how it fits. And after moving it around and kind of checking it out in a bunch of different positions, I realized it's still way too low. I'm gonna have to cut some more stuff off. All right, so the first thing I gotta figure out is where this thing is gonna sit. The biggest concern that I have is it being too low. If I mount it too low, it's gonna hit the ground when I'm driving and that will make me sick. So I've gotta make sure it's high. I'm actually gonna make sure that it's higher than the subframe of the car. That way I don't have to worry about touching it to the ground while I'm driving. I think that's the way that I'm gonna go. And I also wanna try to use the stock Ferrari mounting points. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but I'm going to try as much as I can to use those mounting points to bolt it up. The things that are really getting in the way of these tow hooks, so I'm gonna take a Sawzall and just chop those off real quick. The whole time I've been trying to decide if I need to mount this to the bumper and then mount it to the car, or mount it to the car and then figure out how to get the bumper on afterwards. And I've decided that I'm gonna chassis mount this, so it's gonna be mounted to the actual car, and I'll just cut the bumper to fit the shape that I've got whenever I'm done mounting. All right, so I took a couple days to think about this thing. It posed a problem because it was just too low and I wasn't very comfortable with where it was. But if I moved it up, then I have to delete my license plate, which I can't do because I have to be able to drive the car, or I at least have to move the license plate. So after a couple days of thinking, I decided that I was gonna move the license plate up, and I'll talk about that later. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal, but we'll see. I need something to hold this thing in place while I'm finding all the mounting points and bolting it up and everything like that, and I got an idea that I think is pretty good. So I've got a bunch of this stuff. I actually bought it back when I made the chassis mount wing, but almost a year ago, and it's just been sitting in my garage since then. But I'm gonna use it as a mounting bracket for this, so this is actually gonna be what holds the diffuser in place. It actually fits, so this actually fits inside of there pretty well. So what I'm gonna do is mount one of these to the back of the bumper, actually to the crash bar, and that will slide up into the diffuser and hold the edge of the diffuser. That way I can mount the bottom of the diffuser. Now I'll mount the top of the diffuser too, but this is just gonna hold it in place. I'm gonna do the bottom mounts first and then I'll do the tops. I think that's what I'm gonna do. It may be that once the bottom's mounted, I won't even need a top mount. I can just slide it over these and then bolt it in on the bottom and it'll be secure. I don't know. That's gonna be a bridge we have to cross when we come to it. Back down. For it to be a Ferrari part, these things are not very light. They're actually really heavy, but they're also really sturdy, I'm guessing because of how close they are to the ground. My son was actually walking up it and jumping off of it a little bit ago and it didn't flex or anything. So I don't know what it's made out of. Super strong. Also very heavy. All right, so first I need to measure. So I'm gonna put this bar up on my crash bar and bolt it into the stock bolt locations. Now, after doing some measuring, I decided that I'm going to basically mount this even with where the license plate is on the bumper. And that's almost exactly even where these two center bolts are on the crash bar. And so I'm gonna mount this L-shaped bracket to those two center bolts. It should be pretty level, and I know there's strong mounting points because they're part of the crash bar. So I'm just putting this up on the car and measuring kind of where I need to cut this bar. Next, I'm gonna score it and bring it over to my sawhorses where I can cut it to the shape that I need. I'm gonna have to elongate one of these holes just to make sure it'll fit the stock bolt location, but that's not really a big deal. So I'm gonna mount this thing to the crash bar on the passenger side. And I actually had to get a longer screw to mount it to the driver's side because I needed to use the screw to actually bend the metal. There's actually a lot of tension on this metal when it's mounted, but it's shaped to the car really well, and I think it's gonna make the perfect shape that I need to fit the diffuser. So now that that's up, it's time to test fit the diffuser. And I'm running into another problem here. The diffuser is hitting the crash bar. So to make sure the diffuser fits up nice and snug, I'm gonna have to cut more of the crash bar bracket thing. I don't know what they're called. I'm sure there's a name for them, but I've got to cut more of them off. So to get this done, I just held the Sawzall wide open and leaned on it until it cut all the way through. I really hate cutting stuff like this. It's so thick, but the Sawzall will work. You just need some patience. All right, with that gone, it's time to test fit this diffuser one more time and see if it sits up high enough. Looks like I'm still bumping the crash bar, so I'm gonna have to cut more of that off. All right, I've just decided to cut it off even with the angle iron. I think that's gonna be the best spot to cut it. And I'm gonna leave all the bracket that I left there because the bracket's not really in the way. It's just the center part of that crash bar that's touching the diffuser. After that's done, I'll test fit it again and see if it works. That is sick, and it works. Oh, that works so good. All right. Oh, I can make it. All right, I'm really stoked on how this thing turned out. I think it looks really cool, and I'm really pumped that the L bracket thing worked out. I'm gonna have to trim it a little bit so that the diffuser fits a little bit tighter in there. But man, it worked really well. And so basically all I gotta do now is build some brackets. I know that's easier said than done, but I've gotta build some brackets to attach the diffuser to the chassis. So I'll be doing that in later videos. And then I'll also be fitting the rear bumper, which means I'll be cutting it and making sure that it fits around this diffuser and fits nice and tight. That may require me to do some fiberglass work. I just won't know until I get a little bit further along. But if I have to do some, I'll do it. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. Like it if you liked it. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more of this build, and follow us on Instagram at Built on YouTube. That's where I post like during the week to keep you guys updated on everything that I've got going on. I actually haven't posted about this build yet because I wanted it to be a surprise. So I hope you are surprised. I'll start posting about it from now on to keep you guys up to date. I can't wait to see how this thing's gonna turn out. See you soon.